Good evening, sir. Good evening, Shavi, sir.
Good evening, Saloni. Very, very happy to see your name in the list. I'm very happy that you finally made it. Congratulations.
Sir, thank you so much. And sir, it was possible because of your blessings, sir. You have always been there.
Uh, we try to do whatever we can. Sometimes it's not enough. You have to do your bit also. So, Saloni, very informally, if you can quickly tell us about your journey, particularly why did you think about UPSC? कहाँ शुरू हुआ आपका? What was inspiration? Where did it start off?
Sir, I had this in my mind of to appear in civil services since my college days. Like in the first year itself, I decided that I'll be appearing for civil service examination. And so the motivation came from my father initially. Like he wanted me to become a leader, and he saw in me something that I can contribute to the society. So, sir, as I've grown up in a village and I've seen the social issues around me very closely, and sir, I wanted to really work for the society at the ground level. And sir, hence I opted for civil services as a career. And so from my college days only, I started having touch with the syllabus, with what to do next for the civil service examination. And I made up my mind in the second year finally that I will be appearing for the exam. So that my journey began in 2022 when I appeared for civil services, and which was my first attempt. And sir, I reached the interview stage but could not make to the final list. And then, sir, in 23, it was my second attempt, and sir, I qualified with rank 129, all because of God's grace and sir, the blessings of my elders. So here I am today, sir.
Excellent, very inspiring. You started the whole process a bit early. So, Saloni, ये बताइए कि do you think starting from college helps और करना भी है तो कॉलेज के लेवल में क्या करना चाहिए? What can a student do? Or should a student focus on the graduation and not really start in a big way?
From my experience, my experience because I was in engineering and I had to study there also. I could not ignore that, and then I decided to go for civil services. So yes, if we are able to gauge what to do in the college, then that definitely helps because we kind of create a base for ourselves. For example, sir, I used to read newspapers daily. The Hindu was the first task even during the college. So that gave an understanding about the issues around me. So I think that helped me a bit in my exam later. And sir, also, I was going through the syllabus, I was going through the standard books, maybe, which I know will be useful. For example, I remember I started with Lakshmikant for polity. And I just read through it like casually, not as a preparation thing, but I started reading it out of interest. And I also used to read magazines in my college library. So I think that helped, sir. And if you're able to just start preparing something related to it during the college days itself, then it helps her.
So, कितना घंटा आप देते थे एक दिन में कॉलेज के टाइम with all your engineering course, sessionals, practicals? Was it consistent daily basis पे या maybe some hours per week? What was your plan college days में?
Sir, it varied day to day, like depending on the task which I had in my college and what time of the year it is. So, before the examinations, college examinations, the number of hours dedicated to civil service preparation or these subjects reduced, and sir, vice versa. So, sir, I had a weekly plan. Like, if I made a
Okay.
plan, I made a plan for myself that I'll be doing this in this week. So I somehow try to manage it, and the number of hours varied in the day. But more or less, sir, my tasks were completed in the week itself.
मतलब एक planned approach था.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You were not compromising on your graduation, and whatever extra time you could find, you would do largely newspapers, correct?
Yes, sir.
And
Newspapers and a bit of standard books like Lakshmikant
standard
for
books,
Polity, which I knew that I'll have to read it.
but
And sir, I
nothing
also
deep into Lakshmikant, or was it very deep?
no, sir, not deep, just from the top. Like I just read it casually, like to understand basically what is there inside it. And then
Okay.
so later on, when I did it deeply with deeper understanding, I was aware that, okay, this I have read, so I had an idea about it. Now I can read it in more depth. So that
Okay.
way it followed.
You have a fair
And so
idea
like
about what
geography,
you are reading. Okay.
yes, sir, the fair idea. The fair idea I got from the college reading, the reading during college time.
So good. So why I'm asking you is बहुत बच्चे आजकल इंटरेस्टेड होते हैं प्रिपरेशन के लिए एंड वी आर ऑल्सो एट लॉस ऑफ वर्ड कि कब शुरू करें बट एक ट्रेंड है कि बच्चे अब कॉलेज से शुरू करना चाह रहे हैं okay so taking a cue from you I can advise that they can start without compromising their graduation but एक planned approach रखें and I think you are right the good thing you did was newspaper आपने ज्यादा ध्यान दिया that helped you fine अच्छा सलोनी ये बताइए कि uh, how would you rate yourself in general in reading and writing skills above average very good 1 to 10 के रेटिंग में आप कैसे अपने आप को गेज करेंगी राइटिंग स्किल्स एंड रीडिंग स्किल्स और कंप्रिहेंशन स्किल्स
So in the writing skills first, so I think I used to write a lot. Like from the engineering itself, from the school itself, I will rate myself a good side on writing. I have
ओके
been writing, doing all the English work myself, doing all the experiments myself, doing research work also in the college. So I had a good writing skills, as my teachers have also told me. So and so reading also the comprehension part was good and but sir, as about reading many things, like did not read too much. The width of my reading was not very high. So that way.
so you have and you should read books outside your syllabus also right
So newspapers and magazines, I used to read more than the books. Like I did not read too many books. Okay, there were some books which I read, like the novels and some other books also I read, but not too much, sir.
not too much otherwise your reading skill newspaper से बना आपका
Yes, sir,
because
newspapers and magazines also, sir. I used to read magazines in my college library. If I had a free time or some lecture was cancelled, so that time I used to read magazines in the library.
so you think that has helped you score as much marks because you have incredible marks geography में 288 है essays में 118 which is pretty better than most students you got very good marks in GS paper 4 132 which requires a lot of abstract thinking so what was the main and this kind of marks is not only because of आपने कोर्स कंप्लीट कर लिया या आपको सारा फैक्ट्स पता है it required some bit of writing skills so you think this helped you also and what would you recommend कि बच्चे क्या करें ये skill develop करने के लिए
Yes, sir, it definitely helped in my case. Like reading magazines and newspapers has favored me. I remember I used to pick up examples from the newspapers itself. All the examples which I used in my mains examination in the final day and also in the test which I used to write, all the
wow
examples were from the newspapers itself, sir. I did not follow any other material either from the newspaper or some news which I came across on social media or the internet. So that way, newspapers have helped me there, and I think that could have helped me in GS4, the score which I've got.
okay
And so also in paper two. So the examples in geography paper two, the examples which I used were very recent. From the newspaper itself, they were picked. Or so as you also shared in our classes some research papers and some other papers, the links which you shared that you can refer to for some examples. I used to read those links, read those articles through those links, and then those examples were directly used in the paper. So I think so that way it has helped a lot. And sir, as far as the inculcating this habit of reading is concerned, sir, I think it should come in naturally. Like we out of it was me who was reading magazines out of interest because I was interested in that particular topic or maybe that particular theme. So I think if we as a student have to develop it, then if we start reading one or two and maybe find some time like going in the library, college library, and then finding those magazines to read, that from starting if I feel that it's boring and we're not getting the crux out of it or maybe something that way, but eventually it will get developed, and that has definitely.
how did you know which article to read how did you know कि which one to use and maybe make note of what was your what was working in your mind there
So initially, I also was confused whether I'm reading right or not. But so then the syllabus, which is actually the main thing in UPSC, which actually allowed me to differentiate what is important and what is not. So, sir, I took the syllabus as the base and then tried to link it with the syllabus. For example, if we had internal security topics, and if something was in the news about the internal security part, then I used to add it in my internal security. I had a different register or something for internal security, and I used to add through A4 sheets there that this could be used in internal security. So, sir, the syllabus became a benchmark to differentiate.
You had to know syllabus very well.
Yes, sir.
And I also tell students to have a good idea about the PYQs, what is being asked. So you may have mapped some of the content with that too, probably sometime later in your preparation.
Yes, sir. In fact, I should have mentioned this here itself that PYQs was something which were very helpful in all the paper and even in prelims. Like prelims and mains, both PYQs are very important. Like knowing the themes which are asked, knowing the questions, themes around which the questions revolve. Those themes are very important to be identified from the previous year questions. So, sir, I remember the PYQ analysis, which we used to have before every class, before every geography session on a particular topic. And then I used to refer those topics from the notes. Like I did it in the reverse manner. I used to first see the PYQs which were asked and the questions and the themes which you discussed in the class, and then go back to the notes to revise them. So, sir, that way, and so similarly with the newspaper, like if I have to see something from the oceanography, and I want some example for biogeography, maybe. So, sir, then I used to go back to the magazines and newspapers and find something for that particular topic in PYQ which is being asked. So, sir,
Okay.
that
So you knew the questions. Based on the questions, you would search how you can value add in your answers.
yes, sir.
Excellent.
Not the question particularly, sir, but the theme. Like if it is the
Okay.
environmental geography, and I have two, three questions on environmental geography. Go back to the magazines or which I have read, or something which I have in my mind that I read something in particular newspaper about environment, and will I be able to use that or not? I used to ask it myself, and then if it fits in, I used to add in there. So that way,
Okay.
I think the newspapers help in that manner.
And what is your take on reading proper books? Because I have struggled, trying to convince students ki wherever possible, don't rely on the material. Okay, you might, but books. So, what do you think about this strategy?
Sir, I would suggest reading book is important. Like I started my preparation of geography and of GS both from the books first, and later on I went on to the notes and the material which is available. So, sir, I followed the basic standard books to get the understanding, the basic understanding and the core of the topic and whatever is listed in the syllabus. And so thereafter, to ease my task and to get more information about particular thing, I referred to the materials and some extra reference books which were told by teachers or mentors. So, sir, that way, books are important and could not be ignored. Sir, I think I personally followed books more than the material.
So maybe material helps you consolidate. Material probably helps you to revise fast. Okay, but books is where the core is. Is
Yes,
that
sir. Definitely, sir. Yes, sir. Like to get the understanding and to build up the foundation, I think the book is required. And later on, when we know that something we've already read and we have to segregate the content on that particular thing, then we can you refer to materials because those are more summarized and more consolidated. So, but books are needed, sir. I followed books.
what is your reading of geography preparation? How do you think a student with geography optional should be preparing? What are the 3 4 must do, and what are the 3 4 2 3 they should avoid doing?
So for geography optional, I first say that we have to identify the source where to read. Like books, as I mentioned earlier, that books are important. So we need to identify which book and then sticking to those books, not changing books again and again. Because revising one particular book would be more beneficial than reading two, three books on the same subject. So, sir, I remember I had bought 2, 3 books for a subject, and then later on I kept two books somewhere where I could not find it, so that I never touched them, and I stuck to just one book on that particular topic. It was model theories which we study in geography, so I stuck to then one book to not get myself confused. And so, sir, we need to keep our sources very limited, and you have to choose them wisely. And so, to avoid things, I would say ignoring PYQs. Those cannot be ignored because from the analysis, we can see that the questions and all the themes get repeated in paper. So, we
Absolutely.
need to identify those themes and then at least be very thorough on those particular themes so that if anything is asked on that particular area, we will be able to manage it well. And sir, also in geography, answer writing is very important. So one change which I made in my 2 attempts, in the later attempt, was that the questions number of questions which I wrote increased. Sir, as I was a part of main support program, so we had practice questions, a practice test first, and then the sectional test. So, sir, those practice tests actually broke the inertia that we have in answer writing. So, sir, I think answer writing is also very important in geography optional. So because of the speed which we require in the main examination to make maps, to add value to our answers, and all the nitty-gritties which we have to take care of have to actually be practiced earlier. So answer writing is very important, sir.
Saloni, tell me, I feel that I'm trying to help students in different way. They say we talk about lot of case studies. I talk about lot of regional maps. But how do you think? Does this help students, or do you think we should do something differently? And were you able to incorporate some of those things in your answers or not?
So the help which you gave, you and the Dimple ma'am's classes, and then everything, as I was a part of main support program, so that definitely helped because I remember you asking us, the students itself, about the needs, what we want, and what things that you could do for us. So, sir, that way you're very like you actually wanted to help in the real sense. So, sir, the regional approach which you told about how to make our answers optional oriented, the questions which look like GS but have to be optional answers. I think the approaches which you gave, I remember 3 approach which you gave about the regional maps, about linking concepts, different paper one concepts which could be linked to paper two. That you told us the templates or the 3 methods by which we can make our answers look like optional. So that definitely helped, and also it gave the variety to our answers, to my answers particularly, sir. Like I remember I did not use the same approach in all the answers. I deliberately chose 3 different approaches for 3 different questions if I'm doing something in that question. I use those 3 templates differently at different places. So I think that could have helped me in paper 2 of geography also, sir.
How do you read the questions? आजकल किस type of questions ज़्यादा आ रहे हैं geography में? और क्या suggest करोगे बच्चों को? How can they prepare?
Sir, I think the questions are more dynamic in nature. Like don't have the same questions repeated. Also, we see the current issues incorporated more intelligently into our static part now. Because what is which looks like, so if something is happening in climate change, it might look like that a direct question would be expected. But so the questions are so uh, uh, not they're not implied directly. The theme is not implied directly in the questions. So, sir, we have to be very smart and very intelligent in getting in getting actually what is asked in the question. So, sir, that is very important. And so the dynamism, especially in paper 2, sir, which is a little difficult also, I consider it difficult. So that is where the questions are very dynamic.
So current affair based में smart identify करना है, then use regional maps, some templates to make it geography relevant. That's the approach that you had followed more or less.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Saloni, ये बताइए कि how did you manage current affairs in your preparation? Apart from geography, ठीक है? In general, you got out of college preparation में because current affair बच्चों को परेशान करता है. How did you prepare? What newspapers? कैसे आप time set करते थे? How did you do that?
So the first task of the day was newspaper for me. So I used to read newspaper daily and very diligently. And so apart from that, the current affairs
आप नोट्स
compilation
से
which we
बनाते थे? आप नोट्स से बनाते थे
so
करंट अफेयर्स?
yes, a little bit. Like for the prelims specifically, if I had to, because there's some themes which are repeated in the newspapers, like defense and something from the science and technology. And so we have some categories in which the current affairs are there in the newspaper. So that I used to make the notes category wise. Like if it is from the science and technology, so I had a section for science and technology where I used to add the things about the science and technology, the current developments in science there. And so similarly for other topics like defense and for the environment, for the species which are in news. So I used to make some notes there from the
नोट्स, ओके.
newspaper itself. Yes, sir. A little bit, not too much. I did not make any summary, did not make anything for the mains particularly, but for prelims, I made news notes from the newspaper. And so for mains also, I use newspapers for value enrichment, as we say, like adding examples, adding case studies for GS4, and taking some examples from the floods which happened in Uttarakhand. So the story of a soldier was there in the newspaper. So I added that story in my ethics case study or the examples list which I had.
ओके.
Similarly for essay also, sir, the examples which I thought would be used in some essay, maybe on theme of compassion, on the theme of maybe education. So I had a small diary created for that, and then I used to add those examples there.
Okay,
And so for
so
mains particularly, I did not make much notes, just the value addition part, and also I had made some list like the committees which may be in news
okay.
and something which could be used in my GS answers.
तो you used to make some notes, jottings. तो एक दिन में आप कितना घंटा देते थे करंट अफेयर्स
Yes.
में? Was it a substantial amount?
So if I say then 1 to 1.5 hours for the newspaper and
Okay,
then half an 30 to 40 minutes for jotting down the points from the newspaper. And so if I think that something more has to be done, which was very day specific, then the time could increase to 3 hours, but not more than that.
okay. So keep it within 2 hours. On some days, maybe three
So 2
hours,
to
but
3 hours. Yes, sir.
including jotting work.
Yes, sir.
Acha, now this is a difficult question I'm asking you, and you can answer that very honestly. Because I do ask this question. Now, there is one group of students who wants to prepare by self-study. And there are some, of course, who depend on us. So what is your recommendation? I mean, did you prepare something on your own self-study? And if yes, is that the way to go forward, or some other nuance you would suggest?
So I think it has to be a mix of both because we have to study, we need to have our own strategy, but we need some guidance or some mentorship to tell us whether we are going right or some help which we require in the preparation. So, sir, I took coachings, I took main support program also. I was a part of test series also. So I had talked to mentors and my teachers about all the subjects and whether I'm just to give me clearances whether I'm going right or not.
Okay.
And sir, as far as coaching or self study is concerned, I think it is very subjective because some students have guidance as peer group or maybe as some senior or some sibling who's already there in this preparation who could help him or her. But sir, I was alone at my house and I wanted somebody to guide me. So sir, for that thing, I required coaching. But we have to be very honest about what we are doing, and we cannot be very blindly following some particular strategy which is told to us. I think we need to have some self-made strategy for ourselves which suits us best because what is working for one may not work for another person.
Okay.
So there we
So,
require some tweaks to make sure that it is working for us.
so either strategies can work. People can go for self-study if they have a peer group maybe or some guidance there. Otherwise, they can
Yes.
join. But largely, there must be some guidance, some type of mentorship, some type of hand-holding, so that, in this big competition and the kind of width of content we are dealing with, it's easy to get lost otherwise. Okay, so either way
Yes,
is
sir.
possible.
Yes, sir. But
And
actually, we require guidance, and we need to find out the source of that guidance. So I think coachings help us in that way. Like in all the stages, from prelims to interview, we get the guidance And so since the teachers are experienced, know better than us, then we also get more better understanding of what is the exam, what the exam demands. So I think that way
I
coaching helps a lot.
I personally feel more than directing a process. I think classes help you develop a regularity and discipline. Okay, on a regular basis, you are studying. Fine, whatever works for you. Saloni, you have um, something to say about our MSP program? How we helped you? What would you recommend that? And you can be very honest here, very candid here. Okay, and what we can do differently, maybe. What is your view on our MSP program for geography, which you were a part of?
Very thankful that I was a part of MSP both the years 22 and 23. So I scored 258 in my first attempt, and I did not prepare very much for geography then, and still I was able to get a decent score there. So I think MSP contributed in that, and now also, sir, in this year also MSP, which definitely helped. Sir, the approach to the geography optional preparation in MSP was very unique. I did not find it anywhere, did not hear it from any of the friend where we talked about different levels of questions which we dealt with, starting from the very basic and then going up to the advanced level, and then getting a thorough understanding on a particular topic and chapter. So, sir, I think that was very helpful, and I thoroughly recommend MSP program to my friends and everyone in the preparation stage. And sir, also, I would like to thank Edukemy team here because of the demand centric help which they gave to us. Like they the team, the I would like to mention RK Tripathi sir, Nisha ma'am, and all the other teacher, Devendra sir, Dimple ma'am, sir Sayush, and everyone who was there to help at every juncture we required. Like I remember asking for solved PYQ questions from the team, and they sent me the PDF. I asked them so
Okay.
many different questions, like I want previous year question analysis on particular unit. So ma'am sent me. I asked for level two questions on particular topic which I wanted more. So ma'am also sent them. So sir, all the help which I required was there from the team. So sir, I'm very satisfied. I'm very grateful that I was a part of MSP 23. I did not go anywhere else for geography, sir.
Thank you so much, Saloni. That's very comforting for us. We're proud of you. Will always remain so because the fact is it's not easy to qualify Saloni, no matter how much efforts teachers put in or institutes put in. It comes down to somewhere your efforts. So proud to be part of your journey, Saloni. Uh, how did you manage
Thank you,
your
sir.
stress levels and motivation, Saloni? I'm sure this journey was not a very easy. It must have been, although great work that you qualified in the first attempt to reach interview, and the second attempt you made it finally. How did you make yourself, keep yourself inspired, motivated?
Here, I would like to bring in the role of my family. So, like my parents, my brother, and all my siblings, so they had been very supportive, and they've always been cheering me up. No, even if I did not have a smile on my face, they were there to cheer me up, and they used to ask me and check me out, how am I doing in my daily hours, and whether I'm going fine with my studies. Is there any problem? My parents used to have a family time, like time daily at dinner table. So that way, we used to discuss what happened in the day, and sir, in all that sense, all my stress vanished, and I think with God's grace, it was not a very hard journey. I had a smooth journey, if I see it now. But so I'm thankful for that, sir.
Excellent, excellent. And this is something I have heard from many people who've qualified. Family support is an important part. And for all the viewers who see us and aspirants who see us and the parents who are watching us, I'll suggest this. This examination requires time, it requires patience, requires deep levels of emotional investments. So it'll be great if the family and the parents can be supportive rather than pressurizing students, setting expectations, because examination is not a regular of examination. So really, you should be really proud of your family too, Saloni. My wishes, my regards to all of them. Saloni,
Thank you so much.
any wishes to our students? Any suggestions you want to give to our aspirants who are watching this session with you?
I would just say that you need to believe in the process and keep working hard, because if you believe in, you'll definitely be successful one day. And this journey, we all know, requires patience, require a lot of perseverance. But just believe in yourself, believe in the process, and you'll ace it one day. So that's all. I just wish all the best to everyone, and I hope the Almighty's blessings, the elders' blessings, and they all give you success. That's it.
Our wishes to you, Saloni. Lovely speaking to you. May you be a great officer. You're getting into IPS for certain. Okay, let's hope you make it to IAS also. That's your final
Yes, sir.
dream. But our wishes to you. All the best. Thank you so much, Saloni.
Thank you so much, sir.